give you just a little bit more context about why mindset matters. Okay, well, you know, we defined it, but let me give you an example of what this looks like. So most of us have had the experience of when we've been to a physician, a doctor, and we've been sick or we've had some symptoms that we're grappling with, and maybe the doctor was a little bit hurried or rushed in the diagnosis. They just listened to maybe a few of the symptoms, but they didn't spend enough time to go deep to truly understand the root cause of what was driving the illness. And maybe they gave you a prescription, and you went home, you tried it out, and it didn't work. Let me just show how that's such a great illustration of why mindset matters in all of our efforts in leadership to make significant change and improvement. So let me use a little diagram to illustrate this. So let's say that here this circle represents results. And it really doesn't matter what kind of results. You could talk about your own personal results, the things that you're trying to achieve individually, but it could be your team results, and even as an organization, the kinds of results we're attempting to achieve. So the circle here represents results. I'm going to use another shape. This shape here represents our behaviors. So as a leader of a team, it could be the collective behaviors of my team, but it also could just be my own individual behaviors. Okay. Now, what we all know, this is kind of a no-brainer, but we know that behavior is what will lead us to results. In other words, I do certain things, I don't do certain things, and then I'm going to achieve certain results. I'm not saying positive or negative results, just results right now. Okay. Now, going back to the doctor metaphor, when the doctor doesn't go deep enough to truly understand what's driving those symptoms, we misdiagnose and we don't achieve healing. So in the context of performance, improvement, significant change in an organization, as a leader on a team, we call this mindset. Now mindset, once again, the simplest way to describe this is mindset is the way that I see. In other words, it's my beliefs, it's my attitudes, it's the way that the world occurs to me. It's the lens that I deploy wherever I go, and that lens will determine how I respond or behave, which will then eventually lead to my results. So let me say that one more time. Mindset, right here, the way that the world occurs to me, the beliefs and attitudes I have, is what drives my behaviors. And then my behaviors is what leads to my results. Now, what I find, and in my experience as a leader, far too many times when I've tried to effectuate some sort of a change or improvement for myself and for others, I've only addressed behavior. And that could be any number of things. It could be just expectations that I lay out. It could be policy changes, you name it. But if I only address behavior, imagine here for a moment that this arrow actually represents a bungee cord, okay? Make it nice and thick. It's a really strong bungee cord. If I come along as a leader and I push or pull on behavior change, meaning I expect my team to behave differently, because say we want a different result, but that mindset stays fixed. Can you imagine that bungee cord? So imagine what's going on here. Mindset's fixed, behavior shifts because I told you to as a leader, and you see the stretch in the bungee cord. If that mindset stays fixed, if we don't shift people's beliefs and attitudes, the way that things occur to them, then we're going to see a snapback in behavior, or we're going to see more resistance. People will push back in subtle and quiet ways. This is one of the reasons that we sometimes struggle to get people on board, because we might tell them to behave differently, use my authority, but if mindset stays fixed, we're never going to achieve that result. So once again, recap, mindset ultimately is what drives behavior. Behavior is what leads to results. So as we proceed in these various competencies, these modules, each of us need to step back and say, okay, I'm going to learn some new skills, but what mindsets might be driving the way that I'm behaving in this moment? So if I'm behaving in a way as a supervisor that's not terribly effective, it's probably because there's a mindset, a way that I am believing about myself and others and the situation that's actually leading me to behave in ways that are not effective. So we're going to invite you continuously not only to consider your skills, your behaviors, but the way the world occurs to you, the way you believe and your attitudes, so that we can shift both in order to achieve great results.